Hey guys, how's it going? Mr. Dorado here with another video lesson for you guys on chapter 3. Okay, this is actually section 3.3 that we're going to be going over today, which is again a continuation of writing equations of lines, except for now we are looking at another set of information that we're given that will help us write that particular equation. So just to kind of recap what we've done before, we did the slope intercept form. Okay, so if you were given a slope, so let's go ahead and start writing a few things in here. So if you were given a slope and a y-intercept, okay, slope and a y-intercept, you can go ahead and write something in slope intercept form. All right, also we have talked about point slope. Now point slope is when you're given, yet again, the slope, but now you're given a point rather than the y-intercept. So in this case, you are given the point x1, y1. Okay? Now, we are actually going to be talking about, as you can see in our objective, we're going to be talking about writing a slope-intercept equation when we're only given 2 points. Okay? Now, in order to do that, we need to make sure we remember our formula for calculating slope, which we have right here on the very right-hand side. We have y2 minus 1 y1 over x2 minus x1. So hopefully you guys still remember that equation that helps us identify our slope. From there, we will be able to go ahead and write something in slope-intercept form. But there's a few steps that we got to do in order to get to that point. So let's just go ahead and practice first off how we can calculate slope. So this is stuff that we've already done, so nothing different. So just like before, let's go ahead and label these as x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so just like we've done before, and we're going to go ahead and apply our formula. So y2 minus y1, so in this case it's 9 minus a negative 15 over negative 1 minus a negative 3. Okay, so what do we get? We get 9, this is technically a 9 plus 15, which is a 24, over negative 1 minus a negative is the same thing as adding a 3, so this is actually over 2. So what do we get? We get m equals 12. So my slope here for number 1 is 12. Okay, now let's go ahead and try number 2. So once again, we can call this first one x1, y1, and the second one x2, y2. But just to change things up and to show you guys that we're still going to get the same slope, I'm going to actually call this one x2, y2, and this one x1, y1. Okay? So let's go ahead and use our formula. So we know that we have to do y2 minus y1. So in this case, it's actually 2 minus 17. And we also have 8 minus 17. So what do we get? We get a negative 15 up top. The bottom, we get a negative 9. Okay? Those two have a 3 in common, and actually they have a negative 3, so I'm going to divide both of them by negative 3 because they're both negative. And what do I get? I get a positive 5 over a positive 3. So my slope here is 5/3. Now, if you guys did try it the other way, so let me go ahead and erase this for a second. If you did try it like this, x1, y1, and x2, y2, you are actually going to get the same answer, okay? But remember, it doesn't matter which one you choose as x1, y1, and x2, y2, as long as you keep it consistent in this formula, okay? So let's go ahead and continue on with our first example on how to write a slope-intercept equation depending on the information we are given. So what are we given in this particular problem? It says write a slope-intercept equation of the line that has a slope Let's go ahead and highlight a few things here. We have a slope of 3 and it passes through the point 1, 1. So what do we have? Well, we have a slope, so this is my m, and we have a point, so I have an x1, y1. Okay, a point and a slope. However, we're not asked to write something in point slope form, even though that's what they gave us. We're being asked to write something in slope intercept form. Okay, so actually let me highlight it this color. Okay, so we want something in slope intercept form, meaning we want something in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, but we weren't given that, so we first have to start with our point slope formula, then we can move on to end up with a y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so let's go ahead and write down what my regular point slope form would look like. Okay, I'm going to start with the point slope form first. Why? Again, because I'm given a point and a slope. From there, I'm going to go ahead and go to a slope intercept form. But let's go ahead and do this first. So what do I get? If I substitute in my values that I have here, I have y minus, well, my y1 is a 1, equals, my slope here is a 3, x minus, again, my x1 is also a 1. So what do you guys think we do from there? Well, if you notice here what we want, and here what we have, it's not quite the same. We have to isolate the y. So let's go ahead and do just that. So let's go ahead and solve for y by using SADMAP, stuff we've done before. Okay, but even before that, I have to distribute that 3. So I get y minus 1 equals 3x minus 3. I'm actually going to go ahead and work up here. Next thing I have to do is actually have to add 1 to both sides. So plus 1 plus 1. So I get y equals 3x minus 2. Is this in slope intercept form? Yes, it is. It looks just like this form, so I have my final answer. Okay, so this is my final answer. All right, so let's go ahead and continue now with example 2. Now this one's a little bit different, even more so, but we have a few steps down here that will show us exactly how to do these problems. So let's see what we have. It says write a slope-intercept equation. A slope-intercept equation. Okay. That passes through the points -3, 5 and -1, 9. Okay, so what information are we given? That's why I have this little thing down here that says circle any that apply. Well, we're definitely given points. Okay. Are we given a slope? Nope. Are we given a y-intercept? No, I'm not given either of those two. All I'm given is points. So we're going to have to do a little bit more work here in order to get it into our y equals mx plus b form. Because remember, this tells us right here what our final form has to be in. Okay? So let's look at step number 1. What does it say? Step number 1 tells us that we have to calculate the slope of the line. Well, how do we do that if we only have 2 points? Well, exactly how we did it right up top. So let me scoot up real quick. That's exactly what we did right here. Right? That's exactly what we did there, what we did here, and what we did here. We calculated slope using 2 points. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and call this my x1, y1, and this one my x2, y2. So if I calculate slope, what do I get? I have 9 minus 5, -1 minus a -3. So 9 minus 5, that's just a +4. -1 minus a -3 becomes a +3. So -1 plus 3 is just 2. that reduces to 2. So my slope here is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that just so I have that information ready. Okay, next thing it says pick one point, then write the point slope equation. Okay, so we need to write something in this form, which is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So let's go ahead and write something in that form. So let's go ahead and pick a point. I'm actually going to pick I'm going to pick this one right here, -1 comma 9. And remember, our slope is still 2. So let's go ahead and write our equation. We have y minus, my y1 is 9. My slope is 2. And then we get x minus a -1, which actually turns into a positive 1. All right. Then finally, okay, so we did, let's see, let's make sure we did this correct. Did we calculate the slope? Yes, we did step 1. Did we pick one point? Yes, I picked -1 comma 9. Whoops. Sorry about that. We picked -1 comma 9. All right. Next thing is to write a point slope equation, which we did. Finally, step 4 says to convert to slope intercept form. So from that equation that I have here, I have to solve for y. So I'm going to distribute. So I get y minus 9 equals 2x plus 2. Add 9 to both sides. I get y equals 2x plus 11. I now have something in slope intercept form, which is exactly what I was asked to do. Okay, so that one had a little bit of more steps to it, guys, but we were able to go through absolutely all of them. Remember, this whole unit is on trying to write equations. Now, sometimes you'll be given certain information, sometimes you'll be given other. So what we did here is identify what information we were given, which was just points, okay? We took those points, calculated our slope. Now with point and a slope, I'm able to write a point slope form right here. From then, we just solved for y, and we were able to get a slope intercept form. Okay, so finally, my slope intercept equation here was y equals 2x plus 11. All right, so I think you guys should have some good practice in you, but I want to go ahead and do maybe 2 more of these, and then I'm going to have you guys try a few on your own. So let's see. Let's take a look at number 3. It says write a slope-intercept equation. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that because remember, guys, this right here in bold tells us exactly what I want my final answer to be in. And what form do I want it to be in? Okay, a slope-intercept equation of the line that passes through the points -2 comma 1 and 2 comma -5. Okay, so what information are we given? Let's identify that first, guys. Am I given a y-intercept? No. Am I given a slope? No. Am I given points? Yes, I am. So I only have points. And just like the example above, if you only have points, then you have to calculate your slope first, write a point slope formula after, and then go ahead and write your final slope intercept form. So let's go ahead and calculate our slope here. We get equals, let's go ahead and name this x1, y1, x2, y2. So I get -5 minus 1 over 2 minus a -2. So what's that? -5 minus 1 is a -6. This right here, the opposite of a negative is a positive, so this becomes a +4. And finally, I get -3/2 because they both have a 2 in common. So my slope here is a -3/2. Okay, I have my slope. Now what do I need? I need a point slope form. So I need a y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So what does that mean? I have to choose one of the points. And just to keep it consistent, I do have an x1, y1 already, so I'm going to go ahead and use that point. Okay, so let's go ahead and write our stuff in. So we get y minus, my y1 is a 1, equals -3 halves, x minus a -2, which is now a +2. From here, we know that we have to distribute to get to slope-intercept form. So I get y minus 1 equals -3 halves, x minus 3. Okay, -3 halves times 2 was just a -3. Last step is to add 1 to both sides to give me a final answer of -3 halves x minus 2. All right, so I hope you guys got similar answers, okay? If you did, go ahead and move on ahead. All right, so number 4, let's see what we are being asked to do. I'm being asked to write a point slope equation, so it has to be of this form. Whoops. It has to be of this form at the end of the day. Okay? But let's identify what information we were actually given. So, write a point slope equation of a line that passes through the points -5, 7 and -4, 10. So, what information was I given? I was given a point. Actually, I was given 2 points, and I was not given a slope, and I was not given a y-intercept. So that's what I have to work with. I have to work with those points. So let's go ahead and calculate our slope if we want to write it in point slope form. So I have an x1, y1, x2, y2. So if I calculate my slope, what do I get? I have 10 minus 7, remember y2 minus y1, over x2, which is -4, minus a -5. Okay, so what does this become? This is just a +3. -4 minus a -5 becomes a +5. So it's a +1 to get a final slope of m equals 3. Okay, next thing is to write a point slope equation, and it'll be nice because that's exactly what we want up here, right? We don't actually have to go that further step to write it into slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and do y minus, I'm going to go ahead and pick this point right here, guys. Okay, I'm going to pick -5, 7. So y minus 7 equals my slope, which is 3, x minus a -5, which becomes a positive, and that is it. I have to go no further. That is it. I wanted something that was in this form up here, and that is exactly what I have down here. All right. So what I want you guys to do is actually try out number 5 and 6 on your own. Again, identify 2 things right away. What form do you want it in the end? And what 2 pieces of information were you given? From there, you'll go ahead and manipulate it whichever way you need to in order to get it to this particular form. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try out those 2 problems. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 5. So we're being asked to write something in slope-intercept form. So at the end of the day, I want something in this form right here. Okay, so I'm just going to write myself a little reminder here in the very corner if that's what I want. So what information was I given? write a slope-intercept equation of a line that passes through the point. So I'm going to circle that right away. Point -3, 8, and a slope of -4/3. So I already have my M, and I have a point which we'll call x1, y1. Okay, so that information is not enough to go ahead and help me write a slope-intercept equation, but from that information I can write a point-slope equation. So let's do y minus, my y1 here is an 8, equals, my slope is a -4/3, parentheses, x minus a -3, so the opposite of a -3, which in this case would be a +3. Now, time to distribute. So what do I get? I have y minus 8 equals -4/3. Whoops, sorry about that. -4/3 x minus 4. Last step, add 8 to both sides to get a final answer of y equals -4/3 x plus 4. This is my final answer. Does this look like that? Is it in that form? Yes, it is. So we are done. So hopefully you guys got the same answer for number 5 here. Okay. Number 6. Let's see how well we did on that one. What do I want at the very end? I want something in slope-intercept form. So let's write ourselves a reminder down here. I want something in this form. Okay. And what other information was I given here? Of a line that passes through the points -4, 5, and 2, 2. There is no other information given. So I was not given a slope. I was not given an intercept, but I was given points. So it looks like we're going to actually have to go through all of our steps in this particular problem. So let's go ahead and calculate the slope first. Call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So I get m equals, okay, 2 minus 5 over 2 minus a -4, which is actually a +4. So I get -3 over 6, and that has 3 in common. They both have a 3 in common, so -3 divided by 3 is just a -1. A +6 divided by 3 is a +2. So my slope here is -1/2. Good. So let's go ahead and write something in, well, what? Can I go straight to writing it in slope-intercept form now? Well, no, I can't. I don't have enough information here to know my y-intercept. But what I do have, though, is a point. Actually, I have two, but I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. And I now have my slope as well. So I have a point and a slope, so I'm going to write a point-slope form. So what do I get? I get y minus, my y1 is 5, equals -1/2 x minus a -4, which is actually a +4. You guys know what to do from here. We distribute. We get y minus 5 equals -1/2 x minus 2. Last step. Add 5 to both sides to get final answer of y equals -1/2 x plus 3. All right, and is that also in this final form that we wanted? Yes, it is. So we are on the right track. All right, guys. I think what I want you guys to do is try out the next two. Actually, I think we should try out number 7 and 8 together, and I'm actually going to have you guys try out 9 and 10, see how you guys do on those. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at number 7 together. what is being asked? To write a slope-intercept equation. A slope-intercept equation looks like that. So I'm going to write myself a little reminder. I know I have to have something of that form at the very end. So what information was I given? I was given a slope of -6. So I was given a slope, and I was given a y-intercept of 0, 5. So I was given a intercept. Well, hey, look at that. Look at the two things that I circled. Yeah, I wasn't given points, so I can cross that out. But look what I was given. I was given a slope and an intercept. Well, isn't that exactly what I want? I wanted something in that form. So we can go straight to writing our y equals mx plus b form. So in this case, I have y equals, my m is -6, x plus b. My b is right here. So my b is 5. So y equals -6 plus 5. Is that already in that form? Yes, it is. So we are done. So that one was pretty painless. So let's move on to the next one. Write a slope-intercept equation. So again, if it helps, write yourself a little reminder in the bottom right corner so you know what to look for in the very end. If we have not reached something that looks like that, then we are not done. Okay? So let's see right here. What do we have? So write the slope-intercept equation of a line that passes through the points 4, -3, and -2, 6. So what information was I given? Well, these are definitely points that did not give me a slope, and it did not give me a y-intercept. But I can calculate slope using those. So let's go ahead and calculate slope. x1, y1, x2, y2. So let's go ahead and write it down. So it's 6 minus a -3 over -2 minus 4. Well, minus a negative is the same thing as adding. Okay, opposite of a negative is plus, is a positive, I'm sorry. So it's 6 plus 9 over -2 minus 4 is a -6. Those two will reduce. They both have a 3 in common. So when they reduce, 9 divided by 3 is just a 3. -6 divided by 3 is a -2. So I'm just going to put that negative right here. That is my slope. Let's calculate now our, I'm sorry, not calculate. Let's go ahead and write the next form that we need, which is point slope, because we have a point and a slope now. Let's go ahead and do that. So y minus, my y1 is a -3. So actually, I'm going to make this a +3 equals -3 halves x minus my x1, which is 4. We can now distribute. We get y plus 3 equals -3 halves x. Let's see, -3 halves times -4. That is a negative. That's a -6. I'm sorry, a positive 6. Yep, -3 times -4 was a negative. Sorry, a positive 12 divided by 2 is a 6. So yes, I was right. Okay, from here we then subtract 3 because we want to isolate the y to get a final answer of y equals -3 halves x plus 3. Does that look like it's in this form? Yes, it is. So we are done. Okay, so you have, just like we set up above, guys, we have 3 steps here. Calculate slope, write a point slope form, isolate y to get your y equals mx plus b, or your slope intercept form. Okay, all right. I said I wanted to let you guys try out number 9 and 10. They're a little different, so I want to see how well you guys can do on those. So go ahead and try 9 and 10 for me, please. Okay, So let's see how well you guys did on those. Excuse me. All right. So it says write a point slope equation of the line that passes through the points 3, -2, and 6, 0. So what information was I given? I was given points. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to use. I wanted to use a pen. Points. I was not given a slope, and I was not given a y-intercept. Okay. So what I do want to do here is write myself a little reminder to see what form do I want it in the very end. Well, I want a point slope equation, so that's a y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, so this is what I want my final answer to look like. Remember, you can always identify that by looking at what's in bold here. All right, so we have points, and we know with points we can actually calculate the slope, so let's go ahead and do that. So I get m equals 0 minus 3, 6 minus a -2, and that 0 looks awful like 6, so let me change it. Okay, so 0 minus, actually, I think I wrote that wrong, my bad, guys. Let's do that again, actually, and that's the reason why I always like to label these. So again, let's label these guys. Let's make sure we're doing this correct. Okay, so y2 minus y1. So we have 0 minus a -2, okay? And we also have a 6 minus a 3. This minus a negative is the opposite of a negative, which is just a +2. 6 minus 3 is a +3. So my slope here is 2/3. Now I have points that I can use. I'm going to go ahead and use that one. And I have a new slope here. So I'm going to write a point slope form. So what do I get? I get y minus a -2, which is just a +2 at that point. 2/3 for my slope, x minus a 3, and we are done because this right here is already in that form. There was no need to go any further and write it in slope intercept form. All right, so make sure you got a similar answer. Hopefully you guys did. And let's go ahead and do this last problem together. So I'm being asked for a point slope equation. So write yourself your little reminder here at the bottom. Okay, this is what I want my final answer to look like. That has a slope of -2/5 and a y-intercept of 0, 7. Okay, well, let's go ahead and circle what I was given. I was given a slope and I was given an intercept. However, what are we trying to find here? We're trying to find a point slope equation. Okay, so yes, it's true. We were given a intercept, but I want a slope, which I have, right? I have a slope, and I want a point to do my slope. I'm sorry, my point slope equation. Well, not only is this an intercept, but it can also be considered a point. Actually, before anything, it's actually a point. Then we determine that it's actually an intercept because the x term is 0. But this right here, guys, is a point. So I can actually say I have a point and a slope here, and I can go straight to writing my point slope equation. So let's go ahead and try that out. So remember, point slope has to be in this form. So I'm going to do y minus, my y1 is 7, equals m, which is -2/5, x minus 0. Now, a lot of you guys might leave it like this, which is an acceptable answer. That's actually kind of nice because it helps you identify the point that you used. However, you might also have this as an answer. Okay, you don't necessarily have to have that minus 0 there. It's okay to just leave the x. So both of these answers are acceptable. Okay, and those are both in this form, so we know we did it right. We did not want to write it in slope-intercept form. We could have, if that's what they asked us for, because actually we were given right off the bat a slope and a y-intercept. Okay, so we could have gone straight to y equals mx plus b, but that's not what we were asked. We were asked to write something in point slope form. Okay, guys? All right, so I think that's going to be it for today's video, and tomorrow we will go ahead and talk about 3.4. All right, 3.4 is when we actually look at horizontal and vertical lines and how to write equations for those. All right, guys, well, have a good one, and I will talk to you guys soon.